The divergence that represents these chosen beings. Galactic presence. The ones that can't be tamed. They can't be put into a fair basis society. They can't be contaminated. They can't be punished or feared. To try to get these individuals to control, to the rules and regulations. It's not what these individuals are here for. These individuals were born free, and they were waiting for a certain period in time in their life to express this freedom, to express this containment zone. You were born in a world. Metaphorically, I can use that as a teapot. And in that teapot, you've been trained. In that teapot, you've been taught. You've been told knowledge. You've been told how to conduct yourself. You were told to remain in this teapot and don't go out of this teapot. That has thoroughly been implanted in the minds and the conscience of these individuals on this planet. So when that teapot disappears, you still won't cross the quarantine zone. Consciously or metaphorically. That means any information that comes outside of that teapot is the danger zone. It's past the quarantine zone. You are already consciously adapt to attack anything past the quarantine zone. Anything that's not built and designed inside this teapot metaphorically. Until the divergence show up. These divergences can't be contained by no teapot. They can't be contained by no fake reality. No fake simulation that put it over your eyes, put over your conscience. To teach you how to be tamed like a circus, to do tricks. This is the tactic that these revolutionary divergents, chosen ones, come here to free humanity. They're showing people this teapot. They're showing people the quarantine zone is the freedom, is the truth, is the chemical-less foods. There's no process. There's no contamination. There's only but life, what you've been robbed of. You are taken out of this location to be shown the exactness of the human being, the exactness of the domination of consciousness, how powerful the conscience can go, how powerful the conscience can express itself, how powerful the conscience can manifest itself and brought information into the physical reality when you go past the quarantine zone. People will get pissed off when you start talking outside of the quarantine zone. It's an immediate red flag that come into the minds and conscience of individuals that get told something past the quarantine zone. It's a defense mechanism that's been implemented, implanted, connected, attached to these individuals, that when somebody speaks other than that teapot, other than that contained, controlled location, it's a problem. And they will call on all forces to attack this individual, or more than one individual, that are expressing freedom past the quarantine zone. How the heck are you going to know if something is not safe if you don't test it? How the heck are you going to know if something is not right if you listen to somebody that's telling you it's not right? What if you give it a shot yourself? What if you tried the limits, past your own limits? What if you try your own thoughts? What if you try to think for yourself? And if you float past this quarantine zone, that you'll be able to find something spectacular yourself. Now, a whole system of quarantine that's been set up to keep the human race from themselves. to keep the human being from knowing itself, to keep the human being disconnected from the source creator, the infinite knowledge. Once that is connected, the quarantine zone ceases to exist. They will understand the quarantine zone because the quarantine zone is set up in the minds. The teapot is the metaphor that was put there, implanted in the minds to keep people from not passing it, to keep people doing things that will keep them contained in that quarantine zone, that will keep them from thinking from themselves in that quarantine zone, that will keep them from seeing the devastating tactics that are used against the human bodies in that quarantine zone. And this is why these divergents, they set up things to try to test them out, draw them out, to see if you are divergent. Because 10 times out of 10, these chosen individuals will show themselves. They're built by nature. There's nothing that you can do with them. You can't get rid of them. It's a system of the universe that was put intact to go into these so-called quarantine zone metaphorically to free that population, to free people to nature, to unleash nature on a so-called world that hides nature from the population. How could you hide something from itself? It's only a matter of time before nature takes back over. It's only a matter of time before nature becomes dominant again. It's only a matter of time before the human being evolves in intelligence. It's only a matter of time before the uproar. Not a physical fight. It's a mental war. It's a spiritual war. People are going to dominate because they're going to connect once again back to the universe, back to nature. That frees any type of chains that's been put on society metaphorically. They can't hold nature only but for so long. When they're giving you a false version of nature, when they're giving you an AI version of nature, when they're giving you fake foods and saying it's nature, fake fruits. They have went all out to hide people in that quarantine zone, to make them think that quarantine zone is the creator. Now, how deep is that? How powerful is that? Individuals are in that quarantine zone worshiping, praising the creator, because they think the creator has set this quarantine zone up for them. They think the creator has told them not to go outside the quarantine zone. They think the creator is telling them to keep themselves contaminated. Oh, the divergents. The ones that can free humanity from themselves. The ones that can show humanity the power of the mind, the power of the soul. And once they're all connected, it's a heaven while you're alive. It's a utopia while you're alive. It's the revolution while you're alive and not when you so-called die. Enjoy the rest of your day.